And if you think that he's going to miss this year's WrestleMania, you are a complete moron, okay? People are like, oh, finally we'll have a Royal Rumble or a WrestleMania without him. Yeah, right. He is going to be in our face. Okay, so don't talk about, oh, he's gone for the next 12 months. Why are you talking about him? Okay, I can see, that's because I can see what's coming. Okay, if you think that the full 12 months was the honest truth and that he's going to be off TV for the next 12 months, you are a complete moron. You know, I find it funny how I spent last year talking about how the Impact Zone looked too much like the old American Gladiator set, and how now there's a new American Gladiator show, and its set looks so much cooler than the Impact Zone. I thought I'd just mention that, but remember the old American Gladiators? I was just thinking, remember Malibu? Remember how you always lost? Remember how the contestants would just run, pick them up, throw them away, and just keep running? For those of you who haven't seen the original American Gladiators, there's this one gladiator named Malibu, okay? He had the long blonde hair, he was like a surfer dude. He was like, hey, dude. And he always lost. The contestants would just toss him to the side. And it was like this for like the first 2 seasons before they finally got rid of him, okay? For some enjoyment, just type in American Gladiators Malibu, okay? Malibu. But on to the Royal Rumble. I watched the Royal Rumble with the same group I watched SummerSlam with in Philadelphia, and the first thing I noticed was how haphazardly and unwell thought out the set was at the Royal Rumble. I mean, I guess if you like pretty colors, if that's all you're looking for, it's fine, but the entranceway was just a rearranged HD Raw set. But the way they rearranged it didn't allow for the normal barriers down the aisle. So did you notice? Instead, they used those rope barriers that you find in line at the bank, you know, and it just ended suddenly, and then you have the normal barrier, and then now they're using those ugly silver ring posts for all their shows. Ugh! And did you notice that above the entranceway, there was a panoramic picture view of the city, which is fine, but above that, they had another taller layer panoramic view picture of the city, but the problem with that is the camera almost never showed it. It showed it for about 10 seconds. So they could have gotten rid of that completely and added like 50 more seats. It was just like a complete mess, all right? But as for the Royal Rumble itself, the Royal Rumble represents overall all that is wrong with the WWE today, okay? Generic storylines going in, and we know exactly what's going to happen at the end. Basically, watching the Royal Rumble live is like watching a movie where someone already told you the ending, okay? You're basically watching just to see how it gets to that point, all right? Like the first match between Ric Flair and MVP. Did anybody really think that Ric Flair's career will end after Royal? No. Okay, we were just waiting for him to cinch in the figure 4 and win. Okay, the match itself was pretty much all we would expect between MVP and Ric Flair. So he watched it, he did it, over. Exactly what we expected. The next match was between JBL and Y2. Whenever Y2J fights a bigger guy, I wonder why they never ever bother to mention the time Y2J took down Bill Goldberg backstage at a Nitro, you know? Because JBL's a big guy, you know, he's like 6'5", and Y2J, when he fights, to give him some credibility, they need to, I always feel like it would help to say that, so just to give Y2J, which is a relatively smaller guy, some credibility that he can take down the big guy, you know, just to give some strength to his character. But that's beside the point, you know. Why would you have Y2J come back with all this momentum, all this hype, just to have him fight JBL? You know, and the match was sloppy, just as you would expect it to be sloppy. How good of a match do you expect with Y2J when you throw him in the ring with JBL? Okay, and the next match was Edge versus Rey, which is, again, what you would expect. But the New York City crowd helped to make this match by booing every botch by Rey Mysterio Jr. But again, the ending, exactly what we expected. There was no chance that Edge would be leaving without the belt at the Royal Rumble. And the next match was a very important symbolic match. Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton symbolizes almost exactly the fight between what the company wants and what the fans want, okay? Because Jeff Hardy, even though he's not the ideal main eventer, okay, even though he's not the best wrestler, even though some may call him a spot monkey, he might belong in the mid-card, in this particular match, he represented all that was new, all that was fresh, all that was possible with the main event scene in the WWE today. And for that reason alone, the smart New York fans cheered the crap out of him. And on the other side was Orton, and nothing against Orton personally or individually, but in this particular match, he represented all that was old, all that was the same old, all that was stale, all that was the shove down our throat mentality of the WWE today. And for that reason, the New York City crowd frustratingly booed the crap out of him. Okay? But as much as the smart fans wanted Jeff to win, I think most of them knew, like I knew, that there was pretty much no chance he was going to win. Jeff Hardy just represented what Umaga represented last year, which is he was just a time killer for the champion before the champion fought his real opponent at WrestleMania. Okay? And the Royal Rumble, okay? Before the Royal Rumble even started, about 1/3 of the appeal was already lost. Why? Because the second most important thing to the Royal Rumble, besides winning it, was already lost before it started, okay? Before the Royal Rumble started, nobody could beat Rey Mysterio's record for the length of time inside the ring, because before the Royal Rumble even started, there was already less than 62 minutes left in the pay-per-view. No one could beat Rey Mysterio's record before the Rumble even started. And I admit, this was a hard pay-per-view to book. Okay, they had, even though it was a predictable undercard, it had a stacked undercard. Okay, it was a hard pay-per-view to book. But the problem with that, the way it was booked, is by the time the Royal Rumble started, no one could beat Rey Mysterio's record already. So one of the main appeals was already lost. But more important than that, for the individual show, the Royal Rumble match represented the failure of the WWE to push its young stars over recent years, okay? When people like Elijah Burke and other young stars run down to the ring and you have to wonder, where in the world have they been? When you have to wonder that, you just know how sad the state of affairs is in the WWE with regards to pushing its young stars. And with regards to who won it, if you are surprised by that person's return, then you simply haven't been paying attention. Okay? All the smart fans knew that Cena would be back. Okay? All of us knew that he would be back sometime between the Royal Rumble and right before WrestleMania. It was just a matter of where. Whether it's the Royal Rumble, No Way Out, Raw, or SmackDown before WrestleMania. One of those places. Okay? And the clues were all there during the Royal Rumble. Okay? We knew he was going to come back. Maybe at the Royal Rumble. But clue number 2 that we noticed during the match, during the pay-per-view, there was no tumbler during the pay-per-view. Normally during the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, you have that spinning canister and skits where wrestlers come out and pull out their numbers. They didn't have that. That was very, very suspicious. Clue number 2. The Royal Rumble was so freaking front-loaded. They put almost all their biggest stars in the beginning of the Royal Rumble in early numbers. Undertaker came out first. He got $1 Million Man. 30 last year, 1 this year, okay? And then Shawn Michaels came out second. And then you had all these big stars coming out so early. I literally asked the person next to me, why is this Royal Rumble so front-loaded? What are they going to have at the end? Why is the end so freaking empty? You know? And then I asked the third question, which was the third clue. I said, have all the participants been announced for the Royal Rumble? And he said, no, there are a couple of open spots left. And then we immediately looked at each other, and I said, oh, shit, Cena's coming back tonight, isn't he? And then he said maybe, and then he guessed a few other names, but we pretty much knew in our hearts this was the time. This was where Cena would begin his run at WrestleMania. Okay? And lo and behold, he comes down to the ring. Everyone else in the ring turns into a bunch of Malibus. He throws them all out, and there you go. Okay, I didn't know he would win it, but by all the clues, he was coming back at the Royal Rumble. Okay, open your eyes, okay? Open your eyes. The WWE is very, very one-dimensional these days. So as long as your thinking goes beyond that one-dimensional, they are as easy to read as a book sometimes, okay?